Indian crude cargo ship suddenly thrust into a literal life-or-death scenario after being struck by a missile in a conflict-prone maritime region. We're looking at a situation that's still actively developing, and it really exposes the incredibly high stakes of global shipping right now. The ocean is vast, and commercial vessels absolutely rely on safe passage to keep our global economy churning. But when that safety gets shattered by military-grade weapons, the consequences are immediate and severe. Let's get right into the facts of what actually happened. Hole at bottom, vessel sinking, seeking immediate help. Now, I want you to really process those words for a second, because these are the exact chilling words broadcast by an Indian crew caught in an absolute nightmare. When you're operating a massive commercial cargo ship in the middle of the ocean, thousands of miles from a safe harbor, there's honestly almost nothing more terrifying than a breach beneath the waterline. This isn't just some minor mechanical glitch. This is an instantaneous structural compromise. This urgent SOS was the very first clear indicator to the outside world that a totally routine commercial voyage had just spiraled into an absolute disaster. You can literally hear the sheer panic mixed with professional urgency in that distress call.
Moving on to Section 1, Anatomy of the Strike.
So, immediately following the strike, this vessel suffered a rapid series of catastrophic failures. We're talking about a direct missile impact right in the middle of a conflict zone. The immediate result of that? Significant bottom hull damage. In maritime engineering, hull integrity is quite literally everything. When a projectile punches a hole through the bottom of a ship, the immense pressure of the ocean pushes water in at a terrifying velocity, leading directly to uncontrolled water ingress. And look, standard ship pumps are designed for minor leaks, not gaping holes left by military ordnance. Because the water just can't be pumped out as fast as it's rushing in, the crew is instantly faced with the imminent threat of sinking. The physics of it all just turn against the ship in a matter of minutes. As we try to piece together the origins of this strike, we have to look closely at the preliminary reporting. It's absolutely vital to note here that while authorities are still actively investigating, the Times of India is reporting claims that a U.S. missile struck the vessel. Now, the geopolitical fog of war is incredibly thick in these conflict-prone regions, so we have to look at the data without jumping to conclusions. The current stream of information indicates claims of U.S. weaponry being involved. Whether this was a targeted strike, maybe a misfire, intercepted debris, or the actions of a completely different actor entirely, well, that remains the subject of intense, ongoing investigations by international maritime authorities. Our focus right now is just on uncovering the exact sequence of events based purely on the evidence.
If we look at the timeline here, notice how unbelievably fast a routine operation escalated into a full-blown emergency. It starts totally normal. Commercial sailors just doing their jobs, moving goods across the ocean. Then boom, with zero warning, a sudden missile strike. The situation immediately accelerates into severe bottom damage and rapid water ingress. The crew has practically zero time to react before the ship starts taking on the ocean, triggering the SOS for immediate help, which finally leads to the rapid mobilization of authorities. This timeline perfectly captures the stark reality of modern maritime crises. They don't unfold over days, they unfold over frantic, chaotic minutes. You go from complete calm to a literal fight for survival in the blink of an eye.
Let's transition to Section 2, Rescue Operations Underway. The absolute most urgent question on the minds of maritime authorities right now, and frankly, probably on your mind too, is what is the status of the Indian crew? Have they survived the initial impact? Can they be safely rescued from a sinking vessel in such a volatile area? Obviously, ships can be replaced, but human lives cannot. The second that SOS went out, the focus completely shifted away from the cargo and entirely onto the crew, desperately trying to stay afloat. So, rescue coordination is highly active right now. This means military and civilian maritime bodies are working hand in hand to deploy helicopters, nearby naval vessels, you name it, all rushing to the ship's last known coordinates. But here is the heavy reality we're dealing with. No official casualty information has been released yet, so families are just waiting in agonizing suspense. Furthermore, authorities are having to closely monitor deteriorating conditions. The ship isn't just sitting there peacefully, it's actively fighting a losing battle against the sea. It makes the environment incredibly hazardous for the rescuers too, turning this into a highly complex, dangerous, and extremely time-sensitive extraction. Which brings us to our final part, Section 3, Global Maritime Security Threats. So what exactly is a conflict-prone maritime region? Well, it's essentially a stretch of ocean where the normal rules of peaceful transit just completely break down. Regional geopolitical tensions aren't just staying on land anymore. They're spilling over right into the water, directly threatening neutral commercial shipping lanes.
And this is a really critical concept to grasp on looking at the macro implications of this crisis. The ship that was hit here wasn't a warship. It was carrying commercial goods. But in these specific zones, the line between combatant and bystander gets violently erased, turning international waters into unpredictable battlegrounds for completely neutral parties.
As you can see, this isn't just some isolated tragedy. It's a glaring symptom of massive systemic impacts. Let's walk through these. First up, we've got rapidly growing security concerns for commercial shipping. Companies literally have to factor missile strikes into their everyday transit plans now. Crazy, right? Second is the major disruption of global trade routes. When an area gets too hot, massive cargo ships are forced to reroute thousands of extra miles. That adds weeks to the journey, burns millions in extra fuel, and ultimately drives up the cost of everyday goods for all of us. But the final and frankly most tragic point is that civilian crews are being treated as collateral damage. We're talking about regular working-class sailors just trying to make a living, suddenly finding themselves right in the crosshairs of advanced military weaponry. To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this provocative question. How on earth can the international community secure vital global shipping routes when commercial vessels are increasingly caught in the crossfire? If a commercial ship can't safely cross the ocean without the threat of a missile tearing a hole in its hull, the very foundation of our interconnected global economy is absolutely at risk. It's a massive, complex challenge for international maritime law and global security movement.